Hey everyone, it is Larry here at LC Model Shipbuilding, and in this episode we're going to continue with our superstructure. I do lighting on this episode and just a lot of detail work. So thank you very much for tuning in, and please consider giving a like and subscribe, and we'll get started now. Okay, so couple things. Since the last video, I ended up repainting the entire front superstructure in a lighter gray. I was off shade, so this is actually quite a bit lighter. It was, well, that color, and now it's this color. So anyway, that is now repainted and more accurate, so I'm happy with that. Now, I have all of these pieces, which are the next section of the tower, all taped off to get ready to paint in white. So I'm going to go ahead and start to get this stuff painted up, because I know this will be kind of a long process, being that I got to wait for it to dry before I can take it all off and yada yada yada. So I can basically get it sprayed, let it sit, and then come back to the next section. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for it to dry, I'm going to start working on the lighting. Now, one thing in the last video, I did go ahead and put all of my porthole resin in here. However, because I repainted, I got paint on the pieces here, so I'm gonna have to scrape that away or drill it away. I'll kind of figure that out as I go. So I'm gonna do that off camera, just because I don't really feel like making a bunch of mistakes on camera, but I do anyhow generally, but that's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these painted up, and I'm gonna do the white first, followed by the black, and then the gray. So let me go ahead and get these taped up. I do have a bunch of other pieces here too that we'll be putting on, and I will probably go ahead and do them while this stuff is all drying, and I'll probably actually do it right after I go ahead and spray this. So let me go ahead and get this sprayed up, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got the white paint on. Obviously nothing's glued yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and tape off all of the black. Basically, the front of this goes black, pretty much all the way to the front, so that will all be black. This will have a stripe on it. Most of the front of this goes black, aside from a little bit on the front edge there, I believe. I'll double check that once I get it on. And then there's a kind of a triangle part. I didn't show these little rails here. Hopefully you can see them, but those are part of the Eduardo kit. They're not on the KA kit, but I put them on. And then there is some other brass pieces that I'm going to need to put on. You can see right here. I did not put them on with the white. I am going to put them on for the black, and then I'll just touch up paint the white where I need to. Once I get them installed. And I really probably should have just put them on with the white, so I may actually just spray them before I go ahead and put them on. I unfortunately just missed that. So what I'm gonna do not quick, but what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and tape off all of my black, just like I've been doing for the white as we've shown, and then I'm gonna go ahead and work on getting the pieces taken out that will go on these upper parts. So all of the detail pieces. I'm gonna do the guns last. So I wanna basically, I'm gonna take all of the guns in, like, I don't know, someday when it rains, and just assemble basically everything all in one shot, because they're all accessible. I mainly just am going to work on the detail pieces and then come back to all the guns in one shot. So that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing here, as you may or may not be noticing. But yeah, essentially, we're gonna go ahead and get this all taped up. A little trick here that I figured out, and I never really showed it in the video when I did the Superstructure paint before, but a lot of times your tape is wider than the stripe that you're trying to paint, so I found. So I just kind of cut it down the middle like I just did there, and then I'll come back and essentially use the other half of it for my back part there, and that has been working quite nicely. So just I don't know, figured I'd call that out. I mean, it's nothing earth-shattering, but you know, little tips here and there, they kind of help, and that essentially is what this is all about anyway. So yeah, just a little thing I do. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and tape this off. Then I'm gonna go through and get all the pieces. So there's a piece that goes there, there's pieces that go on top of here, and kind of all over the place. So I'm gonna get them cut out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and paint them up. And while I'm waiting for all of that to dry, I'm gonna continue to get lighting started. So I'll come back once I have everything basically painted, and we'll start doing some lighting and talking about all that. So let me go ahead and get this stuff taped up, and I'll come back to you, and we'll be back shortly. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm gonna start to do the lighting part of this process. So kind of explaining what I'm doing here a little bit. So I got lighting into the bridge here, and you can see I glued it onto the top so that I can have those windows lit up. And then I drilled a hole into the front of the funnel, or not the funnel, but the tower here, and that just basically will come onto here. I'm not going to glue it until I put it onto the ship, but I just want to have it there. Not the ship, but the Superstructure. So we have that. I'm doing the same type of lighting for the towers here, and I glued 2 light bulbs together, LED lights that will light the pieces of the tower as we go. So what I ultimately want to do then is have them all come down into this one section basically in here, where all of the wiring will then kind of come together. Now on the bigger pieces like this, we're running a strip light, and we'll also run a strip light on here just like that, and then down here I'm doing the exact same thing. So I'll cut a piece of strip light to go basically right across here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut away my my waterproofing here, and this stuff is kind of a pain to deal with. I know you can solder through it. I actually just kind of prefer to get it flat down onto the actual light strip, because it really stinks when you melt this silicone that covers it. So we're just going to kind of cut that away until we get the strip basically exposed. And once you get it, it's not bad. There we go. So I'll just kind of pull that up and cut it off. And there we go. So that is going to, like I said, just kind of come across the center there. And I intentionally covered the holes, the larger hole that's here, so I could put it more centered to the lights there, or to the windows there. Portholes, whatever we call them. Sorry. And then it's basically going to be a matter of just kind of putting this all together. So this is the light set that will be in here. I already showed you the one that will go in here. Well, it's the same thing. Maybe I didn't show you, but same thing. Just two together. And obviously I can't run strip lighting inside the funnel, so that is essentially the not the funnel, the tower. So that's essentially the reason I'm going this route. So I'm basically going to kind of start at the top and work my way down. So that's our top piece of the structure. I need to put the decking on this quick, so I'm going to go ahead and get that on, and then I'm going to kind of start gluing these together and soldering. I'm also going to go ahead and paint up some crew members to be in the bridge here, and I may use some leftover pieces from Titanic that I can make some instruments, kind of like telegraph motors and all, not motors, but telegraph units and whatnot to control the ship. So let me pause it and go ahead and start kind of putting this together, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got this section pretty much put together. I got some officers in the bridge in there. I got lights. I did do red lights. I forgot to mention that. So they are red in there. And then I got the lower section here. So I need to basically run these wires all through that hole, and then down in here, once I get this kind of situated, this is where I'll start to do all of my resistors. So yeah, so I'm going to glue this a while and get that set to go. And generally I would not be using CA glue on this, but because of the fact that I want it to set up fairly quick, I am, and it should be fine. Okay, so now this then goes down onto here. And the hole that I cut in here will give me enough lighting, I'm hoping, from the lower deck to ensure that that works. Oops. There we go. I moved forward just a touch there that I didn't want to. There we go. Beautiful. All right, so now that needs to come down onto here, and then this is actually the area where I'm going to wire all my wiring together. I got to drill a hole though, so I'm going to mark that spot where I want it to be. Now I can drill a bigger hole here, and it will all basically go down into there. My bit is apparently about dead. Time for a new bit. Okay, yep, so that lined up. So now that will be able to go down in there, and essentially I'll be able to run all of my resistors together. So I'm going to pause it here and solder up this and get the wires that are going to run over to that, and I will be back. Okay, so just to kind of show where we're at right now, I got these lights on. I soldered on a plug. So I have a maiden feed line that's going to go down into the hull and basically get connected to the battery pack. But I soldered a plug on here, and I only did that because it's going to be easier to go ahead and get this glued down and then basically plug this into that once I get going. But essentially I have the feed line, then it splits off and goes to this one and this one, and then obviously I'll be using batteries when we go to RC mode. But for right now, I have my little tester here, and there you go. You can see lights work, and that plug will now have power going up into the tower as I go. So I'm going to go ahead and get this glued down, and there's a lot of detail pieces that I still have to put on, and I'm doing them like individually. All the guns will be put on separately and all that kind of stuff once I actually get this into one solid piece. But there's parts that, like these vents, go through multiple decks, so I can't put them on until this is all one unit essentially. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I'm going to go ahead and get this glued on, and then I'll pick it up from there. So be right back. Okay, one thing I did not show, the lighting for the side bridge wing here. There is a green light right there, so I have that wired through here, and then it basically goes down, and I gotta attach it yet here, and then there's also one right there. So I did not show them earlier, and actually I forgot about them, so I had to go back in and redo it. But red light will go over on this side, so I'm getting ready to start that whole process right now. Essentially what I ended up doing was I split the photo etch up here and then just ran the wire right through here, drilled a hole into the side, and there we go. So nothing overly too hard, but I did figure I'd better mention it. Now, I also considered lighting up the searchlight that will be up here. This one I'm not going to light, but some of the other ones back here I may light later. I knew I wasn't going to be able to hide the wire well with that light, so I decided not to do it. But anyway, I'm going to work on putting some details on, like these vents here, which go back in here. You probably won't be able to see it, so I'm just going to work on putting them on off camera basically, and then I'll catch back up and show you where we're at. Okay, so I'm working on some of the detail parts. I'm using the what are these, rangefinders? I'm using these. They're the 3D printed ones, which are pretty nice and detailed, so they will save some effort there. So I got to paint them up. I have the doors here ready to paint to go in the back of the bridge. Should have did them earlier, but I missed it. No big deal. And then these are the horns from the KA set. So to build these, pretty simple. You're going to cut off the original horn right here. And like I was doing with the smaller guns that I made already, the 37 mil, I'm going to basically just kind of set a small hole here. So first I'm going to make sure the remnants of the horn are completely gone. And I'm just going to drill a tiny little hole. Not even a hole, just an indent basically for the horn to sit into. And it does have a little point on there, which is good because that will give it something to kind of grip to. I don't even know if that drill really made any kind of indent. Need more glue. Okay. Okay, there we go. And I'll go ahead and make up the other one. So I'm essentially just kind of going through the kit instruction and then matching it over to the KA instruction and the Eduardo instruction, and taking the best parts of each and or adding what is missing from each. So the KA kit has a lot of it, but this Eduardo set just has a little bit more from a detail standpoint. But I do like having both. I didn't drill this one because the last one, that little divot, it broke off on this one too. So they're not divot, but there's a little thing that I guess theoretically you could stab into the plastic, but it's so small that it really is almost impossible. Okay. That one set up pretty nice. Okay, no it didn't. All right, let me give that a minute to kind of set up, and then I'm going to next put together the front searchlight. Yeah, I want to spray this with some accelerator. There it is. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna work on getting some of these other parts ready to go, and I will be back. So check that off, check. All right, be back. Okay, so I have my pieces painted here, and we're just gonna go ahead and start putting them together. So our first piece is our doors that we have up by the bridge. So I'm gonna put them on quick. And yeah, quite a few small little detail pieces in this part of it, basically. I essentially got everything painted up that will go on the remaining detail pieces. Or not the remaining detail pieces, but the forward superstructure here. So yeah, the doors here, I know were kind of a boring part. I mean, there's nothing really to do with them. I guess I can go ahead and do these range finders a minute. So these being 3D printed, a lot of times I'd use a hot knife, but for what I need to do with that, it really can just be done with a simple knife. A little bit of trimming here for part on the bottom. But if you had a piece that was extremely fragile, highly recommend the hot knife. We'll definitely be using the hot knife when it comes to the funnel. Looking at that, I think I want to paint that the base darker gray before I go and add that. Let's see, we have our searchlight. Where is our searchlight? That's right here. And this had a lot of extra detail to it that I did from the Eduardo kit. So there's a lot of little marks, or not marks, but pieces on there, and some pull handles and all that good stuff. So they'd be able to adjust it, basically. So I'm going to get a little bit of glue on the two little mount points there. Okay. And like I said, the other ones in the future, I'm going to end up actually lighting them. But this one, we're not. That goes right there. And that also had some nice detailing spots on it, on the stand that holds it. There's some wheels for adjusting it and all that sort of stuff, which was kind of cool. Now, underneath I gotta flip it here a second. There is the horns. which are right here. Now they had, actually I can do it like that. They had a little bit of an annoying part with them to get them to actually stay how they need to, but we got it. And they go, there's a little hole down under here that they go into. If I don't drop them all over. And there's a little basket, like catwalk type thing that goes on this too. So we're gonna get that in a second here. I'm just going to hit that with a bit of CA okay, next up, we'll do the other side quick. That one seems to have stayed pretty well right off the bat. All right, now we have our little basket that goes underneath this piece here. Now the Eduardo one came with this basket. Unfortunately, it kind of fell apart on me, so I'm using the kit one. Kind of disappointed in that, but it is what it is. So one thing with photo etch, it doesn't like to get bent more than once, really. Just trying to find the best way to hold this. Doesn't want to go in between this ladder piece here. So I'm going to need to possibly bring it. It shows that first. I want to look at the diagram on this because the directions aren't exactly clear. It just shows it underneath there, so yeah, it goes where I thought it did. So it has to go in between the rungs of that that support there, which really wouldn't have been a problem to put this on before. Oh, okay, there we go. All right, so let me get a little bit of glue on it again. That seems to be close to right, but not quite. There's a little spot on the overhang here where it kind of seems like it mounts onto, so that's what I'm trying to catch right now. I don't know. I want to look at the diagram a minute. Let me pause this and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got that in. It was just kind of a pain to deal with, but it's in. Next up, we have our little, I don't know what they're called, but little pieces of mast, basically. And these go right here. So I'm just going to dip it in some glue. And that should pretty much just set right on there. And this is another Eduardo piece where you cut the original off the kit and replace it with the photo etch. There's two little brackets in here that it rides on, like that. Okay, cool. Then we have the other one that's already done, which is this little piece out here. I already did that. Let's see if there's anything else underneath on this side that needs to be done. I don't think there is. Yeah, okay, so we have the longer one of that goes on the top side, which goes towards the back. And this means I'm gonna have to be very much more careful as I'm handling it with these smaller pieces starting to come on here. And as you can see, it's extremely fragile when you use the non-kit part. But they do definitely add some detail here. Okay. Trying to get it so it's on here correct. There we go. Got it. Okay, I'm gonna hit it with some accelerator also there. other side, I'm probably going to have a little bit more of a challenge because I can't lay it down on its side like I just did. So I'm going to do the exact same thing with that one, but I am in the meantime going to go ahead and put our observation sets in here. So essentially showing in the directions that these face towards the back. Okay, so you pretty much get the idea with this, and I'm gonna get this one set, and then I'm gonna pause it again and just continue on, and then I'll come back. I did consider painting up the mast. I did not do that yet on this round. That'll be the next round. Actually, I won't pause it yet. I'm going to go ahead and put up these I think they're radars, but I might be wrong, so if I am, sorry. So I think there's two different directions. Yes, there is. Okay, and I need the bottom part of it. Okay, so this gets glued onto the base. Essentially like that. And then that gets glued onto the tower piece. Like that. It really probably doesn't matter which direction they're going. And then this goes in to, should be riding on the first level. Which, this isn't making a lot of sense to me here. Oh, I see. Okay, like that. Okay. So it rides basically on the deck there. There's a spot that it kind of indents out on. Okay. So that is on. And I'm going to go ahead and build the other one, but I'm going to go ahead and pause it right now, and then I'll come back. Okay, so essentially here we are lit up. I do got a little bit of light bleed I got to deal with right in here and right there at the bottom of the tower. So I'll get that fixed, but all in all, pretty happy with it. I think it turned out pretty good. So it's got the effect that I'm looking for with the lighting. I do wish they kind of look pink, the lights there, but you can kind of see the people inside there. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with this video. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you very much for tuning in. And on our next episode, we'll go ahead and get our radars up on these two parts here. And I do have to get the green lights wired up the rest of the way. And yeah, we'll be moving on to probably the aft section from here, I do believe. And I already did get quite a bit of it done from a detail standpoint, but yeah, a lot more to go. So again, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on LC Model Shipbuilding.